చెప్తాను, డాక్యుమెంట్స్ ఇస్తామని చెప్పి అన్నారు కానీ ఇంకా రాలేదు.
అయిపోయింది. వీళ్ళ టైమింగ్ బ్యాచ్ మా బ్యాచ్ స్టార్ట్ అయింది.
దాదాపు మొత్తం చిన్న బ్యాచ్ అయితే చిన్న పార్టీ కనిపించిన అయిపోతుంది. అది మొత్తం కాన్సెప్ట్స్ అన్ని చెప్పారు. కాబట్టి లాస్ట్ ఏంటంటే డెప్లాయ్మెంట్ చిన్నది అది
ఈ రోజు నుంచి రేయాలని చెప్పేసారు.
కాన్సెప్ట్ వైజ్ అన్ని బాగానే ఉంది కానీ తర్వాత డౌట్ స్టేషన్ దగ్గర వచ్చేయండి ఏంటంటే కొంచెం కరెక్ట్గా రెస్పాండ్ ఉంటుంది. కాబట్టి సార్ చెప్పడం ఏంటంటే నువ్వు ప్రాజెక్ట్గా చెయ్యి, అంటే నువ్వుగా చెయ్యి, దాంట్లో ఉంటే అర్థమవుతుంది. ఒకటి దాంట్లో అడుగుతూ చెప్తే కాకపోతే ఏంటంటే సార్ చెప్పినట్లో సార్ ఇలా పెడితే ఏమవుతుందంటే దాని గురించి ఎవరి స్కిప్ అవుతుంది అనమాట. ఆ లాస్ట్ లో ఒకసారి అన్మ్యూట్ చూపిస్తారు, లేకపోతే మొత్తం క్లోజ్ చేస్తారు.
క్లాస్ మధ్యలో ఏమి వినరండి. క్లాస్ అయిపోయిన తర్వాత
కొంచెం డౌట్స్ ఉంటే క్లియర్గా అవుతుంది. ఆఫ్లైన్ స్టార్టింగ్ అయితే కాకపోతే మన మీటింగ్స్ ఉండే సరే నేను వెళ్ళిపోయా. అంటే ఒక ఈవినింగ్ జరిగింది మన న్యూ క్యాంపస్.
ఇప్పుడైతే సత్యం థియేటర్ స్ట్రైట్ లో అక్కడ
ఆఫ్లైన్ అయితే డౌట్స్ క్లియర్ చేసేంత పాసిబిలిటీస్ ఉంటాయి. అలాగే ఈవినింగ్ కాబట్టి కాకపోతే ప్రాసెస్ బాగానే ఉంటాయి. కొంచెం కాకపోతే అంటే ఆయన చెప్పడానికి మన ఆ డౌట్ అసలు ఎలా ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ అవుతుంది దాంట్లో చెక్ చేసుకుని మళ్ళీ క్లాస్. కాకపోతే అంటే దాంట్లో కొంచెం మనం అడిగిన క్వశ్చన్కి అది కొంచెం ఫ్యూచర్ డౌట్ క్లియరెన్స్ రావట్లేదు. ఓకే కానీ అది అప్పటి
వేరే బ్యాచ్ కూడా లేదు కదా సార్, టైం కూడా లేదు.
శ్రీను సార్ ఉన్నారని చూపించారు. శ్రీను సార్ అని చెప్పేసి వచ్చింది. కాకపోతే తర్వాత బ్యాచెస్ శ్రీను సార్ లేదు.
అంటే ఇప్పుడు స్టార్ట్ అయింది వచ్చింది మళ్ళీ లేదు.
తర్వాత ఎక్కువ సార్లే ఎక్కువ ఉంది.
ఇంకా ఇరవై వరకు నేను అంటే మీరు
అంటే వాళ్ళ బిజినెస్ మైండెడ్ గా వచ్చిన మేనేజ్మెంట్ వాళ్ళు ఏంటంటే ఒక నేను తీసుకుంటాను ఏంటంటే
ఇక్కడే ఉంటారు.
ఫస్ట్ మళ్ళీ చేస్తాను సార్ మన క్లాసెస్
స్టార్టింగ్ లో చెప్పడం చెప్పారండి మాకు, మీకు వీడియోస్ కూడా ఉంటాయి, కావాలంటే ఎక్స్ట్రా పేమెంట్ ఉంటుంది అని చెప్పారు. జాయిన్ అయిన తర్వాత ఈ క్లాస్కి లేవు లేవు అని చెప్పి
కాకపోతే ఆయన్ని రిలీజ్ అయిపోయినారు. లింక్డ్ఇన్ లో ఎక్కడ చూశాను 2 years ల్యాబ్ సెషన్స్ పాకిస్తాన్ I think college
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Please close the door. Online students, I'm audible and you could see my screen here. You're there? Okay. Okay, so where are we, guys? What are we discussing in the last class? We were talking about we were talking about the steps, what we need to create or what we need to follow in order to create a sample project or sample Node.js project, which is internally using the Express as a framework. Okay, so we are talking about the Express generator node module, and using your Express generator node module, we could able to even create the minimum folder structure, whatever we have, and we are going with what all individual folders is. So we are already done with the bin folder. We are already done with the node underscore modules folder. We are done with the package.json, right? Everyone. So what is this package.json? So that is the very starting file which gets executed every time. Under that, we are going to have the author name, application name, description, what is the version, and contributors, dev dependencies, and the dependencies. These are all the things what will be part of your package.json file. And under the package.json, we even mention, like, whenever your user says npm start, what is the command which I need to execute? That also will be part of your package.json. Okay, that we have already seen. And under the bin folder, there is something called as a www file. Www file is the file under which we are going to have the set of instructions using which you are going to start the server. We are going to handle the errors. Those all will be part of the www file. So we already know that. Is it possible to rename the www file? Come on. Bin folder. Yes. Okay. If we do the changes for the bin folder or the www file, corresponding changes has to be done under the package.json file. Okay. So we know that if at all you have to start your server, you can say bin folder www node so and so. But when I'm giving this folder structure to any other team or any other users, what happens is not every time user will be keeping this bin folder or www. They may change it. So for the user, it will be a confusion that how do I start this guy? He cannot go to each and every file. Where is the starting command? Instead of doing that, what user will do? He will simply say npm start. And when I say npm start, automatically it will go to the package.json. From there, it is going to say that whatever the starting file is there, that is what it gets executed. Right? So hope everyone is clear about this bin and node modules. What do you mean by this node underscore module? Can I rename this guy? No, this is a default folder gets created whenever you're going to install any of the node modules. By default, it gets added under the node underscore modules folder only. There is no way you can modify it or you can rename it. Okay. Yeah, remaining all we are looking into. Now, let us see something called as package-log.json. If you see here, this is a file which gets automatically created every time whenever you're running npm install. You see, right now I have deleted this package.json file. Sorry, package-log.json. Now, when I say cmd, I say npm install. Now, when I say npm install, automatically background package.json is the file which got created automatically. So what does this file contain? If I expand this guy, okay, before that, if I go for our package.json file, you see that these all are the dependencies what I am adding for installing the node modules. Okay, what all the dependency node modules we have for the current project? What is the project name? Latest trend store. Okay, so for this latest trend store application, these all are the dependencies what we have mentioned. But we already know that even though we have this 5 to 6 dependencies, when it is installing more than hundreds of packages it is getting installed, isn't it? Then how come where those all hundreds of installations are coming from? Those all are internal dependencies. You are depending upon the cookie-parser, but that might be depending on some other 5 to 10 node modules. Those 5 to 10 modules internally depend on some other modules also. Okay, we already know that. Then where actually these all are being entered? Under your package.json, it automatically adds the entry for individual node module. If you see under the package.json, it is saying that, okay, these all are the packages. What are those? There is a module called as accepts. There is a module called as account. There is a module called as account-global. There is a module called as align-text. Each and everything will be added as an individual entry under the package-log.json. You don't need to do this. By default, node or by default, your npm command is going to do this. Whenever you say npm install, the very first thing what I need to do is go to that list of dependencies what user is having. From there, find out all the node modules, whatever I'm depending, I will keep adding an entry over here. Then I will go with the installations. You see, it is all expanded. All the node modules, almost like 1,000 lines of code until Yag says the node module what we have. You see, these all node modules we have not included, isn't it? So we have included which one, say for example, express is the one what we have included. Let us say this. Now when I say express, for express, do we have an entry? Yes, but if you ask me a question, there is an entry for escape-html. There is an entry for e tag also. But have we added this? No. Whatever the internal dependency we have, those all dependencies also are being added as an entry under this package-log.json, which will be on fly created whenever you run the npm-install command. Are we clear? Yes or no? Okay. So package.log.json, in generally we don't add into the GitHub because we are not creating it. By default, it gets created. I delete it when I say npm install, it automatically gets created. Okay. Next. And one more thing, guys. Do you know what do you mean by this git-ignore? There is a file called as git-ignore being added into the GitHub folder. Have you ever seen this? .gitignore. What is the use of this? Git ignores the files. Nice. Next. What is the use of this git-ignore? You know, for example, whenever I come to this latest trends, I come to this public folder. I have not deleted this. For example, I go to app.js. I say instead of path, I make it as path1. I save this guy. You go to the GitHub desktop. Is it not added as an entry? App.js. Once I click on this, it is saying that boss user has modified from path to path1. That is good. Let me submit the changes. Okay. Now, yeah. Whenever I'm doing any modification over here, 1, 2, 3, so and so, automatically you see the difference getting updated into your GitHub desktop. Implies GitHub desktop is keep on looking a monitor onto it. Okay, whatever the user do changes, I will say that, okay, these are the changes you have done. Either deleting, adding, deleting, whatever the things you do, it will make sure that updates are being shown so that you can commit into the GitHub. That is what the concept is. Now, I say, I come to the node_modules folder. I come to this accept. There is a file called as index.js. Under that index.js, I'm using this parameter req as 1, 2, 3. Something I have added. Now, when I come back to GitHub desktop, why it is not showing as a change? I have done the change, but why it is not showing as a change? It is under the ignoring folder. So what do you mean by git ignore folder? There is one git structure you have. There is one complete folder structure you have. There are some list of files you have, list of folders, list of files, folder structure, everything you have. Whenever we do any changes on this folder, Git desktop will keep monitoring on that folder. It will say that, boss, these are the changes you have done. Do you want to submit in the Git or not? That is what a GitHub desktop is doing. But there are some folders, what you wanted is, don't make a monitor on it. My intention is I don't want to submit these files into the GitHub. That is what we call it as a Git ignoring. So git ignore is you can specify list of files or list of folders which need to be ignored. You don't need to monitor them. You can skip off them because those things are not going into the Git. That is what we call it as a git ignore. Now, node_modules, by default, we will be adding into the git ignore. You may ask me a question, why you are not submitting the git node modules? If you go into the github.com, When I go into this github.com, you go into this latest trend store. Do you see node modules has been submitted? I have the bin folder, routes folder, views, app, and so and so. Why this node underscore modules is not added? Because node underscore modules, do you guys really want me to share with you, or you can install in your local machine by yourself? You can do that. If you already have this package.json file, you simply say that npm install whatever the dependencies you have, you can also install in your machine. So what I have done here, I don't want to add the burden on my GitHub. Unnecessary files, I don't want to store it. That is the reason I added this node underscore modules folder as a git ignore. See this, when I open this git ignore, open this guy, you should able to see that the folder which is called as node underscore module has to be ignored. Are we clear? Now say for example, if I remove this, implies I'm not adding into the ignoring concept. Then what it happens here, it will start monitoring that guy. And now when you go to the GitHub desktop, you should able to see these all entries are happening for your node underscore modules. Are we clear, guys? So git ignoring is you are forcefully telling the GitHub or Git desktop to monitor this. Don't allow this guy to submit into the Git. If I remove that guy, obviously it starts submitting into the Git. But again, I'm asking the question, if I submit all these node models, what I am achieving, you guys can also download it. When I come to the package.json, when I come to the app.js file, those are JavaScript files. I may do some modification. You also want the modification what I have done. But the files which are under the node underscore modules, I'm not modifying them. Those are by default which are coming, and those are like manually we are installing, and I'm making use of it. You can also do in your machine. Okay, so you can specify any of the folder, not just only the node modules folder. Now if you see, if I add the entry back, when I'm saving this, see from the GitHub desktop, those will be gone. GitHub desktop is not monitoring them. Okay, say for example, sometimes people say that, saying that, boss, there is a file, for example, batch 7 a.m. is there, public, June 5th, 7 a.m. I go with 8:30, go with public. Say, for example, this is the file I have, boss. When I'm doing the modifications, it is not getting added or it is not getting shown on the GitHub desktop. Why so? In general, what happens is there is a concept add to git ignore. Compress. There is a option. Why it is not showing here? Okay. For example, this is the one which I want to add it into the git ignore. Okay. Now what I come over here, I say that so and so dot asterisk. Okay. So any file which is having this file name, I'm adding into the git ignore here. Now when I save it, now if I try to open this and I do the modifications, now when I save this guy, come back to the git, don't say that. Okay, actually git ignore is also not submitted. There is a option automatically gets added into the git ignore, or else, yeah, if you see here, when I'm right clicking on this, I can do this. Instead of I manually adding it, if you see under the GitHub desktop, is monitoring and is showing this edit here. Now when I right click on this, if I say that add to git ignore, now when I click on this add to git ignore, it has to automatically add into this. See, it has automatically added into this entry. So that from in future, if I do any changes on this HTML, that doesn't show any type of difference for you. Am I clear? So this is again a good part, when good interview question also. I mean, in general, minimally people need to know what do you mean by this git ignore. Okay. Okay, now we understood about there is a package log.json. So now we understood about bin folder, we understood about node modules, or else let us see what are the things we are still not covered. Public folder we haven't covered, routes folder is pending, views folder and app.js. 2 folders and 2 files are still pending, right? Okay, now let us go into public folder. So what I mean by this public folder, we already know, if you remember when I was talking about the server, I always said that the reason why we go with the server is the major 2 reasons. What are those? The main reason why do we actually go with the servers? Come on. Anyone can access inside the network. Okay, the thing is, the first intention of going with the servers is, if I keep the resources under the server, people could able to access those resources if they are connected to my system. That is first point. Second point, come on, someone said that web services, you could able to run some web services inside your server. Those are like services, anyone can try to access it and they can just make use of it. That is another usage with your what do you say, with your server. Okay, the 2 major reasons. Now if I go to the first reason is, if I take and keep any resources, or if I store any resources into my server, resources in the sense, it could be files, a CSS file, JavaScript file, image file, document, PDF, anything, you can keep it and you can put into the server. It is not executing them. Okay, it is not going to execute all those, but it is just keeping with me. When you ask me, I simply throw it back to you. That is what your the server is capable of doing. So how you can say that, or what is the folder which we have so that I can store these type of resources? Public is the folder where we could able to store the static resources. Okay, public is the folder where we could able to store the static resources of your Node.js server. So any resources which you want to keep it inside the server, which can be accessible throughout the network, you just paste it under the public folder. Okay, any resource which you want to access throughout the network, whoever is connected to your system, you just need to keep it under the public folder. Okay, example, I will say, I will copy this 7 AM folder. I say some June 6th. I go in, I say I'm going to paste this guy. So what is the use of this guy? In general, when I drag this guy, see, this is an image. Oh my God. When I drag this guy and drop onto this guy, you see here, this is the one which it is coming. Now you tell me, is it is a resource, image resource? Is it is coming from the server now? Not actually. You are accessing from the F drive. Now, how do I access it from the server? Instead of this public, I can simply say localhost colon 5052 is the one what we have given. Now, if I click on enter, it has to be accessible from the server. Why it is not getting accessed? You need to always start your server. So how do you start your server? The shortcut is go to your server, latest and store, click on the header bar. What is the command? CMD. It opens the command prompt with the current so-and-so. What is the command to start? NPM start. What is the other option we have? Node space bin and www file. Okay, because when I say npm start, indirectly that is happening. Now when I click on this, error will be coming. What it says? Cannot find module bin my server. Did I change the package.json? If I open this package.json, okay, you see we have modified it. Node bin my server. But under my bin, do I have it as my server or www? Www. So rename that guy back to www. Save this guy. I say npm start. It says server is so and so. Listening at 3000, man. I think I modified it back. Okay, now I say this guy will be 3000. So now if you see, the resource is coming from the server. So these type of resources, anything you keep it inside the server. And one more thing you need to understand is, for example, if I keep this 8:30 public June 1st. Okay, if I copy this Feb 27 folder and I go to my server and I keep this guy over here. Now, when I open this Feb 27th, if I run this news content, this is what it is coming. If at all I have to run this guy from the server, it will be local host colon 3000 so and so. This is how it is coming. Now, you tell me, I could able to see the HTML content, or I could able to see the execution of HTML content. Execution of this HTML content. You tell me, is the execution is happening from the browser or execution is happening from the server? Server. Come on. It is browser, guys. As I already said you, resources only I'm going to throw you. But you may ask me a question, if it is not executing from the server, when I am trying to add this URL, I mean, it is the server URL. Then how come it is executing and showing browser is doing that? Because browser understands HTML, I'm executing and I'm showing the content to you. For example, if I keep if simple C file, I say under the latest trends, under public folder, I say my C program dot C language. I say hash include stdio.h. I say void main. Hello everyone. Say for example, this is a very simple C language code I have written. Now when I save this, I come back to this. I say my C program. I'm running over here. Let us run it from the server. I say localhost colon 80,000. Now once I click on enter, you tell me, am I executing or showing the localhost? You tell me, am I executing or showing the source code of it? The same thing happening with your HTML also. In HTML also, server is simply throwing you the source code. Server is not executing it. But when it is HTML, browser understands HTML. That is the reason it is executing and showing the output back to you. Are we clear? Okay, so this is what happens with your server, guys. Every time any content, whatever you keep inside this public folder, server never even going to see whether it is the right file, wrong file, my executable, because Node.js, does Node.js execute the C language? No, Node.js only executes the JavaScript. But when it is coming to the public folder, not only C language, you put Java code, you put HTML code also, I'm not going to execute it. You put CSS code, I'm not going to execute. You put JavaScript code also, I'm not going to execute it. The content, what is inside the public folder is just for make it access to every other people who are connected to our system. And when you say that, okay, give me abc.html, I'm giving you the abc.html content. Your browser is understanding that HTML and he is executing it, not the server guy. Code is coming from the server, but execution is happening from your browser. That is what happens even in your Amazon also. You know, what people are thinking when I say something called as Amazon.in. Do you think the execution is happening from the server side? No. Amazon, whenever you say Amazon.com, this source code is the one what you are getting from the server. Server is simply giving you that, okay, this is the source code of Amazon.com. That code is HTML, CSS, JavaScript that is executing, and you could able to see it as a web page. Okay, server only stores the resources. It never executes the client side instructions into the server side. Okay, so that is what your public folder is. Now the question is, how does the system knows that public folder is the folder where we have stored all our static resources? Is it mandatory that only public folder should be there? No. When I open this app.js file, under the app.js file, you should able to say that express.static is one of the predefined method. What is this express here? You see, I have included the express node module. So whenever you say using the express.static under the express framework, there is a method called as .static method. It will ask that give me the directory, give me the folder where you want to treat it as a public folder or a static folder. Okay, that is what you need to pass it to this guy. So here, actually what I need to say, you see here, this is the public folder. Do I need to tell my system that you treat this F drive, UI classes and latest folder and public folder, have to treat it as a static folder? This is what I need to do. You know, in generally what I need to do is, this is what I need to do over here. Okay, I need to say that, boss, you need to treat this guy as a static. This is what I need to do, guys. Actually, this is what you need to mention. This is what you need to tell. You're saying that, boss, app.use. What is app? Express. Under that, there is a method called as app express.static. Now you need to use this folder as a public folder. That is what you need to tell. But instead of this, why you are doing this express.static path.join _ dir name public folder? The question is, if I am executing in my machine, I will say that F drive UI classes latest trend stored, because I have stored in my system. Now, when I'm giving this folder to you guys, it is mandatory that you also have to go into only F drive, under F drive UI classes, under UI classes folder. Do you think you need to follow that? No, boss, not needed. Then what should I do? I need to keep something dynamic so that whatever the folder user stores, I could able to pick that location dynamically, then I can add it over here. Now, if you see, I'm using the keyword called as _ dir name. That is a piece of predefined keyword in your Node.js. When I say console.log _ dir name, let us see what actually that guy is throwing for us. Okay, save this guy, come back and restart this. Now, if you see here, what is the value this _ dir name is giving? F drive UI classes latest trend stored, implies _ dir name is a predefined keyword supported in your node.js, which will automatically return you the location or the folder where your source code is being stored. Okay, now in his mission, say for example, my code I have given to him. In his mission, he is going into C drive, he is creating ABC folder, under that PQR folder, under that he is putting the server. Now his _ dir name will be C drive, ABC, something. This is what it's going to come. So _ dir name automatically picking up the location where you are keeping your server. From where you are running the npm start, from there automatically it picks the exact directory over there. Are we clear? Okay, on the top, what I'm saying now, if you see _ directly, it is only telling me that UI classes, latest trends. But under that, I have created the public folder. So that is where I need to add the / public to this dir name. So in order to add public, we have something called as path.join. You are joining the directory path and the public path so that it will become like /public. That is what this intention is. So you are not giving this guy, but it is automatically identifying that complete path using this. So path is one of the predefined method. Where it is coming from, there is a node module called as path. Anything you want to work with the URLs, path is the predefined node module. We can make use of it. Okay. So from there, I'm saying that using the path, you have to join whatever the directory with a folder called as public. Now you will get this complete folder structure up to this. Now I'm saying that express.static, you need to treat this directory as a static folder here. Clear, everyone? Okay. So now you tell me, can I rename the public folder to something else? Can I rename public folder to something else? Come on. Come on. Who says no? One. Come on. No. I didn't say that. The only question what I said is, Yes, no. Are you clear? Yes, right? It is. If at all I say that I rename this guy, instead of public, I make it something called as static here. Can I do that? Yes. The only thing what I need to do is corresponding change has to be done in the app.js file also. I come to app.js file. I say that directory name. I say something called a static. Now you treat that guy as a static folder. Okay. Instead of static, I made something called as Prasad. Can I able to make it down? Yes, but make it as a meaningful name. That's it. Okay. So public is the folder. I'm making it back so that not to have a confusion. So in future, if you don't see a public folder, you should not feel like, boss, where is the file? Where is the location where I'm going to store the static resources? You should not feel for that. Okay. If at all there is something else they may use, they may say something called as public, they may say static, they may say ABC, they may say XY, anything they can give it. If you really want to know that file name, go into the app.js file. You see for the method called as express.static method. Under that, you see which location they have given. That will be treated as a public folder. Are we clear? Okay. And now, yeah, I made it as public back. Public. Now, what are the things which we are still pending with? Routes folder, views folder, app.js also not completely done. Some piece of things we are doing. So now, before going with this all three, okay, routes, views, and app, I will be going with the flow, guys. When I start creating your project, then I will go with the flow here. Okay. And one more thing, what I wanted is, and when I'm doing this project, when I'm doing this project, as we created like latest trend store, when I'm doing, under this project, when I'm doing the things, I will make sure to explain the Node.js concepts here instead of going like individual example. But one thing what I wanted is, I want the help from your side also, guys. Okay, when I'm doing the project, I want the help from your side, because when I'm adding the look and feel changes, I can't spend my time in the class for creating the good look and feel and all, because those things we already covered. My intention mainly is on the functionality. So I want you guys help in making it as better look and feel. So can anyone do that? Okay. And you guys can directly do the change into my folder called as latest trend. It is not like you're doing somewhere. You can directly do the changes here and save it. Tomorrow morning, I should be able to see it out. Okay. I will create the template structure. I will ask you the help. Okay. Where you have to do, you can just contribute over there. Fine, everyone. Okay. Now, the first thing, let us start creating this latest trend store app. The first file, what I'm going to, okay, I'm going to delete everything here. Now, the very first file, what I'm going to create is login.html. Okay. So for this guy, directly instead of showing the login, yeah, we can do that. Okay. I say some header part instead of divs and all. Can I go with your HTML5 semantic tags? Okay, I say header, I say main container, I say footer. Okay, now I'm going to save a CSS file. I'm creating a folder, CSS folder, and I'm going to say main.css. Now, can I add the fav icon also for us? Everybody know how do we add the fav icon? So this should be icon, and for href we can specify the shopping fav icon. Images. So it is recommended, guys, everywhere you're going to create some set of folder. It is recommended to put some folder and keep all the relative resources inside it. HTML is in node modules. Who added that? Under login.accepts login.html. Okay, so I added this fav icon. Now when I reload this guy, open in the default browser, you should be able to see our fav icon has been shown on the top. Okay. On the top, what else? CSS is not getting loaded. I say link href is CSS folder main.css. Come back and reload. This is how it is. Okay, this is how it is. Top. Okay, this is how the main page I have created. Now under this, I want to show some description here, guys. You guys can work on showing some description, and on the right top, I will show a link. Login link. There I'm going to show the login part. Okay, and what this login link will be. Okay, this is what I'm doing. But what I'm expecting is, let me show you one of my previous folder. There is some errors which need to be fixed out. I will say index.html. You see, this is what I wanted, guys. On load of the page, here, I want you to see this guy. It is having some logo, some menu, some search bar and details. Can you guys add that part in the header part? Okay. In the same way, when I go to the footer, in fact, the footer, you don't need to go with this positioning and all. Footer, I think you can remove that. Footer, you can keep it directly. I don't need to have this main container as a position, guys. Main container. I don't need to have this as a position. Class. ఇప్పుడు ఏం క్లాస్ బాబాయ్ ఇప్పుడు ఏం క్లాస్ ఇక్కడ ఎన్ని గంటలు పది గంటలు కదా పదికి బాబాయ్ వాళ్ళకి చెప్పండి ఒకసారి నా క్లాస్ 9-10 వరకు ఉంటుంది కదా ఒకసారి చెప్పు ఒకసారి నాగబాబుకి చెప్పు 10 వదిలేస్తాను కదా I mean, the problem is if you don't create the layout correct, right? In future, we are going to face the problem. So it is better we create it now itself. Okay, this is how I have the header, footer and all. For this main block, I say minimum height. Minimally, you need a height of say some 500 pixel. Reload, this is how it is. Now you can keep increasing the footer. So footer, what I wanted is, you see like this. I mean, it is not mandatory that you need to do something like this, but you can go with any of the shopping applications, right? You can see some good footer. Say something called as Flipkart. You see, these type of footers I'm expecting. You see these type of footers. Okay, terms and conditions, some information. You go explore some of the pages and you need to put some footer content on our page at the bottom instead of this copyrights. You guys can do that? Yes. And on the top header part also, you find out one of the good logo for our latest trend stores and you keep it on the right side, like this guy. So you see the Flipkart is there and this guy is there, and you see like when I'm scrolling, that is coming at the bottom. How come the header bar is not at all moving? How come? Sticky or fixed? Fixed here. Okay, we can do the same. For example, the minimum height is say something called as 900. come back here, reload the page. You see, when I'm scrolling up, that guy is moving, but I want the header to be fixed here. So what I can say, I can go with this header. I say position as fixed. Okay, I say background color. Okay, something I'm adding, and I say left off 0 pixel, right off 0 pixel, and height of top also I keep 0. Height of say some 120 pixel. Save this guy, reload the page. This is how the header is. Now you see when I'm scrolling here, it is not moving. But this guy left is 0, right? But why this padding is coming? Because I have added this. This guy should not be added for this header. It should be only added for the main container and for the footer container. Now when I reload, this is how it is. Now you see, this is how you can scroll it. Okay, the same thing was happening in your Flipkart. $70 pixel, reload this guy. You see, the same guy is happening. And let us remove the border for this. Border should be added only for the main container and for the footer container. Still, I'm having the border. So these all look and feel is the help what I needed from you guys. You guys can start implementing this. Are we clear? You know, even for the main container, border is not looking good. Like this. Okay. So I want you to put this, I want you guys to add this footer container and the main content. Okay. Clear everyone? Okay. On the top, now I want you guys to add some piece of content, but where is my, this guy? You know, when I put the main content here, I say hello. Refresh this. It is not visible. Why so? It is at the bottom of this. Then in that case, what I need to do? Margin top I can provide here. Okay, for the main content. Margin. But link is still not visible. Okay, this is how I'm getting this. On load of this, I click on login, then I could able to show the login button. But I want you guys to fill this white screen. This white screen to be filled with. Here I need to have some. Here I need to have a div with slideshow. Okay, you know how do we add the slideshow using the Bootstrap? And let me add Bootstrap also by default for this. I will show this. At the same time, at the bottom, some description about the page. And here footer also need to be added by you guys. Okay, you guys need to add a slideshow with a smaller header. You can copy the Bootstrap part and some description about here. Now for me, when I click on login, I want to show a pop-up to the user. Under the pop-up, user will be filling the data like ID and password. Then we want to take it. Okay. So let us do that. So under the project, everything we will be touching, guys. We will be writing the CSS, we will be writing the JavaScript, we will be writing the HTML, we will be writing the server code. Everything will be mixed up here. Okay. So sometimes you need to be a backend developer. Sometimes you need to look like a front-end developer. Everything you need to take care. Once the DB starts, even as a DB administrator, you need to work. Okay. Okay, so let us include the bootstrap part also. So before including the bootstrap, I need to say CMD, I need to say npm install. Oh, why I'm going with online shopping? This is ours. Now, when I say npm install bootstrap, when I'm installing the node module, there are two ways we can use. Either I can directly copy the bootstrap JS and CSS and I can keep it, or I can even do with your node modules also. So now I want to go with the node module, man, so that I don't need to depend upon the third party links here, CDN links here. Now, if I say npm install bootstrap, my application will be added as a bootstrap. But when I'm giving this application to someone else, they also have to install the manual bootstrap here. Now, instead of they doing it, what they will do is, we want to add an entry of the bootstrap under the package.json. Agree? Now, when I go with this package.json, if I open this guy, right now we are depending. Oh, bootstrap is already added. How come? Online, man. Sorry, I'm looking into wrong batch. Okay, I go to your UI classes. So when I go with this latest trends, when I open this package.json, you see here right now we are depending upon only these 6 node modules. But I want to force the user to even install the bootstrap node module also. So how he has to do that? Do I need to add an entry here? I need to say that some bootstrap has to be added so that user will say package.json npm install, automatically bootstrap also gets loaded. So how can I say that? Whenever you are adding this npm install space bootstrap, you say something called as -- save command. So what does this will do? It will force to add an entry under the bootstrap, under the package.json. You see, when I say this npm install bootstrap, automatically failed to parse JSON data. Package.json must be actual JSON, not just JavaScript. Oh, there is an issue with the package.json file. Okay. Now, when I say npm install bootstrap -- save, you see here, there should be an entry for this package and for this bootstrap. When I open this guy, not yet done. Done. See here, is the entry for the bootstrap is also done, so that when the user is installing the node modules, automatical bootstrap also will be added. But again, the question is, when I come to this login.html, how you're including the bootstrap? I need to include bootstrap something called as link href equal to right now I am into the public folder. What I need to do, I need to take a back step. Now I need to take the node_modules folder. Now I'll take a back step, // I say node_modules folder. Under that there is something called as a bootstrap. Under the dist folder, under that CSS file, under that bootstrap.mini.css. Bootstrap.mini.css. That is how I'm going to include the bootstrap. Now, when I save this guy, come back over here and reload the page. Bootstrap got included here. Yes. Now, when I copy this, when I include this guy, this is how it is coming. Why so? You are accessing from the F drive. But in general, where do I access this guy from? Do I need to access it from the server? I say local host colon 3000, right? 3000, click on enter. This is how it is going to start. But I have not started the server. It should be npm start. Now I come back, I reload the page. This is how it is coming. Now you see the source code of this. I click on this bootstrap.js. It is not coming. Why so? You see, it is identifying localhost server, node modules, bootstrap, dist, CSS and all. But still it is not coming. Why so? The thing is, Do you think that anything which I keep in the server can be accessible by the browser or can be accessible by anyone who is connected to my system through network? Come on, anything what I'm keeping inside my server, anyone who can connect to my system, they could able to access it? No. Which one they could able to access it? Public folder. If the resource has to get accessible by the outside person through the network or through the server URL, for sure it has to be under the public folder first of all. It has to be under public folder. But now what we are doing, we are trying to connect or we are trying to access the resource which is under node underscore module. Boss, when you go with something called as Amazon or Flipkart, I could able to access the resources only from this HTML or CSS, whatever it is from the static folder what they kept, that is what you could able to access. They have added one business logic of how the payment is done. That is under the server routes folder or some other folder. Do you think you can access that guy? No. Right now we are doing that. You are trying to access the resources other than the static folder, which is node underscore modules. If everything is accessible, where is the security, boss? So secure server content is completely not accessible. Only the static resources, which is accessible for the end user. And how do you say that as a static resource? Anything which is under the public folder, that will be the static resource. Are we clear? Okay. Now, how do I access the Bootstrap now? For sure, Bootstrap has to be accessible from the server URL only. How can I access that guy? Now, if you see when I'm hitting this guy, underscore module is not coming. Then what should I go for? Copy the Bootstrap folder into public folder. Okay, I need to keep this Bootstrap folder, node modules, wherever you have this Bootstrap, this resource, I have to keep it under the public folder. Now I go with the CSS. Under CSS, I say Bootstrap. Now how you're going to access it in your web page here? Under login.html, I need to say CSS folder, Bootstrap folder, dist folder, CSS folder, and bootstrap.mini.css. In the same way, JavaScript, src, okay, this is the problem, right? If I keep it under the CSS, people will think that why you are using the CSS folder. Okay, I will do one thing. I take out this guy. I say that libraries. Okay, CSS library you are working with. Now under libraries, I'm going to keep the Bootstrap. Now I say this guy will be library. From the library you are coming. Even you guy also come from the library. Bootstrap, dist file, JavaScript, bootstrap.mini.js. Now if you save it out, come back here and reload the page. This is how it is coming. Now I go with the source code. If I click on Bootstrap, could I able to access it from the localhost 3000 here? Why so? That is into the static folder. Only the resources which are under the static folder or the public folder can only be accessible from outside. Are you clear? So guys, if you see these type of things, now if you ask me a question, boss, why didn't you explain this before to us? If you ask me a question that, boss, when we are talking about the Bootstrap, you never explained this, like, where do we keep this Bootstrap? These all things will be coming when you really or practically, if you try to implement it. Okay, there it was not a scenario, but now it is a scenario that we have a complete thing which is running from the server. That is the reason I was keep on telling you guys, project part, put some extra attention and everybody do it out. Whatever the project I'm doing here, same thing you try to repeat at your home. At your home, you create a separate folder. There is some like shopping application folder. Whatever I'm doing, you try to do the same. Repeat it. Don't copy and paste it and simply rename it to something else. You say that I'm done with the practice. That should not be the case. Okay, so try to repeat the same thing again and again. And I'm always fine if you really want the video recordings of everyday class of this Node.js server. I'm fine in sharing it to everyone. Okay, if you wanted, I can help. I can ask others to share it directly on the group itself so that everyone can make use of it. Okay, only reason that you will make it for a good cause and for learning purpose. Okay. Okay, so this is what I have created. Now, once I click on login, I have to show a pop-up here. Okay, so now in order to show the pop-up, can I depend upon the Bootstrap? Bootstrap is already giving some pop-up for us. So let us go with this. Close this. I say get bootstrap.com documentation. I go with the docs. Under that, there is something called as models. Where? Model. Now, if I click on model, you see there are some different type of models. This is one model, launch static backup model. This is one model, demo model, scrolling content, demo model, vertically centered, scrollable model. Yeah, this we can add it, right? Close and save changes. We can try for that. Tooltips. I don't want this guy using the grid. They want to show some grid. I don't wanted this. Very model content. Fine. Can I go with this vertically centered scrollable model? This is fine, right? Okay, so let us take this model. Now what they have said, in order to show this model, we need to copy this div guy. Okay, I'm copying this. I'm keeping it under my web page. I say div class model dialog content scrollable. I say hello model or dialog box content. Okay, save this guy, come back. And one more thing, how do I give the relation for this button? Isn't it? How do I give the relation? How they have given the relation? You see, for the button, I need to say this part. Instead of this login, I will create a button. Instead of this launch, I say login. So you see what all we have. You see class equal to btn fine, data bs toggle model, target. It is static backdrop. But what is the target here? You see, under the browser, you see for this button, he said it as target is static hyphen backdrop. That is what he gave. Come on, man. Static hyphen backdrop, that is what he has given. But now if you come to this div guy, that ID, same ID has been given over here. So you need to link between the button and this guy. Okay. So now for this guy, I say ID is equal to login dialog. Okay, this I take this and I keep it under this guy. My job is done. Save this guy, come back and reload this guy. Now once I click on login, where is this? Where are you? I think we have not added the complete dialog part. I need to copy all this guy. See, this complete content has to be copied. And I need to place it here. And for this guy, the classes, I need to take all this. See, model fade, just this thing we have added. But remaining all, we have to say it is scrollable, etc. and all. Now I'm not going to add this guy. Okay, instead of static backdrop, I need to say loading dialog. Save this guy, come back and reload your page. I click on login. Why this boss is coming at the bottom? It is better we create a separate example, then we'll see whether it is working or not. I save this. I go to our 830 public. We have not created the dialog box, right? Example, that time when I was talking about the Bootstrap, but I asked you guys to practice it, to explore it. You also haven't done that. Okay. Let us say so let me copy this Bootstrap docs download. I'm copying this guy for now. I'm copying the Bootstrap CSS and JS. Now I would like to create a sample Bootstrap docs models model. Under that, a very simple one. Below is the static meaning display have been overridden. Okay. Now I copy this. I paste this. Open in the default browser. This is how. This is coming good. Then what is the problem with that? Is it the problem with our CSS or the JS? Should not be. You know, when I'm adding the JavaScript file, yes. When I'm going to this login, this Bootstrap, or else let us see whether this guy is working with this external Bootstrap or not. If it is working, then we'll try to fix that guy. This is how you go with this tracing, guys, whenever there are issues. Not the problem with this. You know, first thing is why my model title is being shown as it is. When I go to console, under the model.js reading backdrop. The problem is with the structure. Okay. Now, if you see, when I click on login, this thing is coming. Now I can go with this index.html. I don't want to go with this external. It's a link. href is under lib bootstrap dist css bootstrap dot css. Sorry, mini.css, right? Library, bootstrap, test, JavaScript, bootstrap bundle.mini.js. Just save this guy, reload the page. Once I click on login, this is how the pop-up is coming. Okay. Now, instead of this model title, I can keep modifying this. Where is that model title? 37. Okay. I say user login. Under that, instead of this triple dots, now I need to show a UL tag. Under that li tag, user name, input type equal to text, or else I say input type equal to text, class equal to form control. Bootstrap provides one predefined class called as form control, can be used for any input elements, and I can put a placeholder, enter user ID. Save this. This is how it is. Once I click on login, see, these type of input element will be coming for us. Okay, form control. But for the form control model body, I go with the CSS model body. For this, I say li list style none. Okay. Account password, input type will be password. I even want to give okay, model body li tag. Once I click on login, this is how it is. You need to provide the user ID, you need to provide the password, you need to provide the below captcha also. And captcha, I want to show the text box and show the captcha. When I click on refresh button, captcha has to be refreshed. Can you guys do this? So I want this job to be distributed among you all guys. You decide who is working on header part. Okay. Say for example, header part is there, footer part is there, main page content, under that slideshow. You see, when I say main page content, under this login, you see, when someone is working on slideshow, you only work on this. Okay, when someone is working on main content description, etc., things and all, has to work on only this guy. Okay, this slideshow and main page content, and someone is working on header, you have to work on header, someone is working on footer. Now, other team, now when I say something called as login dialog, under the login dialog, who is working on adding captcha? Just a simple box. We already did that captcha. Whenever I click on the button, captcha automatically changes. That part you guys need to do. And any look and feel changes on this login. If you want to make it better look and feel for this, you can do this. And remove this save changes button, make it as a login. Under this, I say look and feel changes for login pop-up. Okay, adding captcha and refresh. When I reload it, it should automatically reload this. Validation and all, you don't need to do that, guys. Once I give the wrong captcha, how it is working, that I will go. You only need to copy the captcha part, whichever we have already done. The same thing need to be repeated here. Who all can participate in the project? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Very good, guys. So you guys under the group online students also we have, right? Shlok. That's nice. So whoever want to work on it, you please decide. It is not like 2 people are working on header, 3 people are working on header. I don't want to do that. Okay. So you guys can decide who is going to work on what part. You say that, boss, I'm working on this header part. Okay, I'm working on footer part. Or else if you feel like, boss, someone has chosen the header, but I feel like I can do it more better. You also work it, you keep it with you, I can see that. But whoever says that I'm going to work, I want you to directly come to this login.html. Under the header, you do the changes and you submit it. And when I say header, header will also include the logo part, the search bar, those all things has to be added. You go to Amazon, you go to Flipkart, whatever you feel which is looking good, you try to copy this. Cannot copy, try to simulate the same. Am I clear? I want everyone to participate, guys. This is how you can make your hands dirty with your coding and all. Okay. Instead of working with individual sample examples, you have done many. But now I want you to participate in this so that you will be on a sync. What is happening on the project? Like right now, this is small. Going forward, as I said, like hell lot of things we are going to add in the project. So if you participate in this coding and all, you will be like involved in this. Like what all each and every part is. Okay, that is the reason I said you. One practice is once you go home, you are creating your own server folder. Whatever I have done this login.html, you need to copy the same. Not copy, simulate the same. On the top, try to come to the main project and try to add this. Or else when you are working, you do the changes in your own project. If you feel like this is working good, do the same changes even in my GitHub. I don't want an option like tomorrow you say that, boss, I have already done in one example. You please copy and paste it. No, I can trust you guys. I know that you're not going to disturb the existing code. You simply do the changes directly into our project and you can directly submit into the Git also. And take the feedback from other students in our group. Put the discussion in the group that, okay, who is going to work on all these modules? One individual, have one header, one footer, whoever it is. Are we clear? Everyone. Okay, so let's pause it for today. We'll meet again back on tomorrow. Have a good day. Bye.